What's happening, everyone? Hope you're having a happy new year. I am Count Jinsula, and I just want to talk about something that has been on my mind for so long when it comes to Pokemon Go. And it should be no secret that I am not the biggest fan of EX raids. I really think this system is something that just does not belong in Pokemon Go, and I've made countless videos talking about this very topic. But I think it's come to a head at this point because as much as they've been improving EX raids, as much as they've been improving the invite system, there's still a lot of design flaws when it comes to EX raids, and I just don't think at this point it has any business being in Pokemon Go.
Now, don't get me wrong, I actually do think EX raids are a lot of fun. I've certainly had a lot of positive memories when it comes to EX raids. I can see why they have it. Like, it is a great way for people to have kind of like a concentrated form of raiding. And of course, with EX raids, it is kind of like a mini event, so it gets the community talking. Like, if you want a successful EX raid, you do have to talk to other people on Discord or WhatsApp or what have you, and you have to coordinate a little bit. So I can understand why they have something like this in place. I just think that at this moment it is a bit of a hassle, and there's just a lot of, you know, elements that are just very random and it's outside of players' control. And I really think with the invite system that they had in place, you know, it's just a good step in the right direction. But yeah, I'll talk about that more in a minute here. So I actually have an EX raid at this gym in about 5 minutes, and the nice thing about Deoxys is that I am able to solo it. I do have a full Tyranitar team ready, and of course there are other players available, so if it turns out I'm not able to solo this, well, I have a backup in place. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Apparently there was a 100% IV Charmander that spawned here, but I plussed it and it ran, so I didn't end up getting it. But man, I missed out on that one. But yeah, we're gonna just do this EX raid. It's gonna be quick and simple. 17 people. I don't expect this to take longer than 10 seconds. But yeah, I still don't know why we have EX raids. It's nice that we could meet up with people for these raids, but I meet up with these people for regular raids all the time. So with the raid system as it is, there really is no need for like the community aspect of EX raids. But yeah, it is pretty frustrating. But yeah, it's going down so fast. I like the fact that Deoxys attack form is super easy to defeat. It is potentially soloable under the right conditions. Look at this. This is not really a bug.
I missed the raid.
You missed the raid, but...
There it is. Why is it Detroit County?
You guys want it?
You going in?
Alright, go in.
Let's see what the CP is. 1419, not really good. Still gonna catch it. Wondering if I should pin at this.
Because my other first condo was like 2 years. Yeah.
2. Easy peasy. Good times.
Now, a lot of people are going to say that I'm just being very negative, that EX raids are fine, that for a lot of players who are actively raiding, they are able to complete their EX raids no problem. And sure, that may be the case for a lot of different players, but for a lot of players who live in rural areas or even players who live in suburban areas, it's not quite as simple. And for a lot of people who have jobs, who have family issues, who have different responsibilities, it's really difficult to have a set time for them to raid. A lot of people like myself, they have raid times that are a bit sporadic, and it all depends on how busy they are at work, what kind of responsibilities they have at home. And for us to have a set raid hour for us to complete a specific boss, like, I just don't think it works for Pokemon Go.
The way to get EX raid passes is not necessarily an issue anymore, but the fact that these are scheduled in different times and different places, and you're really at the mercy of your EX raid pass's time, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily like the way it is currently set up, and I do think that there could be a big change.
I do think that EX raids, if done right, could actually be a very fun element of Pokemon Go, but the fact that there's not that much player control when it comes to these raids and when they happen and where you get invited to is a little bit frustrating. I really like the idea of there being some kind of exclusive raid for a boss that, you know, is going to be a lot more scarce compared to the other legendaries that are in the game. Deoxys, Mewtwo, all of these bosses actually fit the bill, and I would hate for there to be just a mass of Deoxyses right now. I like the idea of there being some rarity to it based on scarcity, and EX raids is a great way for them to do that. But the big problem with EX raids is, of course, player control. We don't necessarily have a lot of control over where we're gonna have our EX raids and when we're gonna have our EX raids. Like, there's a lot of times where I found myself not raiding in a certain area because at the time that the invites go out or at the time that the EX raid could potentially happen, I will not be in that area. So for me to go out and raid at certain places at certain times, like, this is literally what EX raids has become, because I'm trying to manipulate the system to give me an EX raid pass around my lunchtime at work so that I'm actually able to do them. And if it's on the weekends, it's even more difficult because, for example, like, I have to make sure I don't have anything going on that day in order for me to complete the EX raids. You kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about here.
Now, another thing that I think is very important to point out is that EX raids are essentially a non-issue anymore. Like, they're not really necessary anymore because, of course, with Mewtwo, we've had a whole month of Mewtwo's spawning after EX raids. So I don't know, like, even with Deoxys right now, like, what is the point of really pushing for Deoxys? Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a Deoxys month at the end of this EX raid cycle, you know? So honestly, what is the point of EX raids at this point? Like, why do we even have this system? It's just very frustrating. It's a big source of frustration, and I really think Niantic, at this point, they have to come up with something better, or at least come up with some kind of improvement that allows us to kind of pick the time when we could do the EX raid in some way. I just don't know.
I really feel like this system needs a complete rework in 2019. I really hope Niantic is coming up with different solutions. Honestly, they've been doing a good job just trying to make it better. Of course, with EX raid passes, they're a lot more easier to get than they were about a year ago. And of course, we do have the nice invite system with our Ultra Friends and Best Friends, which is a nice touch. I actually like that. It does give us just a little bit more control, and I want them to kind of move forward in this way, because if they were to give us the ability to control where and when we're gonna have our EX raids, I think that's not a bad idea. Of course, it's going to cause different problems with balancing. There are certain parks and certain times that are going to be a lot more popular than others, and for, of course, those raids, they may end up being overpopulated. But with Deoxys the way that he is right now, the fact that he is essentially soloable, I don't see a problem with you being able to go to a park and have an EX raid triggered there and kind of decline whether or not you want to have that EX raid, and then you have the option to go somewhere else. You know, there's just a lot of different things that they could do to improve this system, and of course that suggestion is not necessarily the best one out there, but Niantic, with all of the designers that they have, with all of the coders that they have, I think they can come up with something that works, and EX raids as it currently is just simply does not work.
I mean, for goodness sake, my next EX raid after this one is going to be during Community Day. And when I say during Community Day, I mean literally it is going to be at 2 o'clock while Community Day is happening, like the day of Community Day. Like, how is that okay? Niantic, you really have to just revamp the system. My goodness, it is so frustrating that it is what it is.
Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts regarding EX raids in the comment section below. I really don't like this system. I have never really liked this system. Even with the improvements that they brought to EX raids, I still think the system is really flawed. And I really hope Niantic pays attention to this, because the player experience is probably what the most important thing is, and they've been doing a stand-up job. I mean, this year is poised to be a really phenomenal year. If they go by anything that they did in 2018, it's already be a really great year. So we can expect a lot of cool stuff to happen in 2019 because of course they're going to build upon what they've done in 2018. So I'm really excited about it. But EX raids is like the one thing that I really hope they fix, because as it is right now, I'm not enjoying EX raids. There's just a lot of unnecessary pressure and there's just a lot of unnecessary stress, and they're really just hampering my freedom to raid. So yeah, I really hope they look into it. I really hope they improve it, and I really hope that the communication just stays up there, because they've been doing a phenomenal job with that as well. And really, just Niantic, just talk to the players, like talk to people, like what do you want us to see? Like what do we want you to change? Like these are some of the things that we should be conversing about. So yeah, let's have a really great year. And if you have an EX raid pass, let me know in the comment section below. Is yours coinciding with a community day like mine is? I would like to know. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you all later.